Ohio we go. Senator Harris of California with Chris Hayes.
Thank you, Brian. Senator Harris, there were a number of times tonight where you brought up reproductive rights, yes, reproductive choice.
Yeah.
You said something that I heard a number of other folks say about codifying Roe into law.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it means that not only would it be Supreme Court precedent, not only would it be something that should be enforceable in our courts, but it would be enforceable in terms of just the law of the land.
Like a federal statute.
As a federal statute. And in that way, we could obviously attach then all of the federal conditions that go on to what we do around state funding and what we do in terms of public health funding to make sure that no state legislature can just basically undo the important aspects of Roe v. Wade. Because be clear about something. The concern that I have is not necessarily that we have to wait for the United States Supreme Court to undo Roe v. Wade. Every day in state houses in America, they are whittling away at a woman's access to reproductive health care. So these women virtually have no access, which is the same as undoing Roe v. Wade. So we need to have federal laws in place in addition to an interpretation of the Constitution that makes sure that these states would be penalized if they violate these federal rules.
So why has that not happened? I mean, it strikes me that as you have this democratic debate about sort of marginal change versus, structural change, that would be an enormous political fight. Would not say it's not worth it, but that would be an enormous political fight.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And that's why on so many of these issues, I've said I'm just done, right? And on this issue, that's one of them. Because the reality of it is that, I've been in the United States Senate 2.5 years now, and there's very little that's happening there. They're getting nothing done. And that's why, as president, I am prepared to require that the Department of Justice would review any law coming out of any state that violates a woman's access to reproductive health. And if it violates the Constitution and Roe v. Wade, it does not go into effect. That's called preclearance.
What the Voting Rights Act model, essentially.
Exactly.
You've had an exchange with Senator Warren about Twitter and about Trump violating the terms of service. Why does that matter? Like, why of all the things? Why that?
Ask the whistleblower. Ask members of the United States Congress. Ask the people who are prepared to testify about this president's lawlessness and obstruction of justice. Ask the people and the families in El Paso when that shooter admitted in his manifesto that he was influenced by Donald Trump's tweets. Donald Trump has 65 million followers on Twitter. And we have to take seriously the weaponization of this platform by the president and the need, therefore, of a private corporation to be held accountable to say he has abused the terms, and it could result literally in a threat to safety of human beings who are participating with the process of justice.
There is not a part of you civically, constitutionally, that is concerned about the precedent of a private company taking the platform away from the President of the United States or some other elected official?
Free speech does not condone or protect threats to the safety of other human beings. And so that is what we are talking about. Like, let's be really clear about what we're talking about, because this can go into some abstract law school debate. But the reality of it is we're talking about Donald Trump weaponizing Twitter in a way that could result in real consequence, including death. And we have to take that seriously.
Do you think he puts people's lives in danger when he targets them in tweets?
Absolutely.
Do you think he knows that?
Does it matter? Then you might as well ask me, do you think he knows that when he sold out the Kurds that they're going to be slaughtered? The fact is he did it. The fact is that he is irresponsible, he is erratic, he is like a 2-year-old with a machine gun. Right? He doesn't understand the power of his words or his actions in the way that they will actually impact and could end other human beings' lives. So whether he understands it or not, look, he's the President of the United States. I don't actually care whether he understands it or not, because he has shown that he is not responsible enough to self-regulate. He has shown he is not responsible enough to edit what he says. And here's the thing that
but
you have to understand.
But that's a problem bigger than Twitter, right?
You guys deal with one thing at a time, and we can multitask. But I'm not going to sit here and say he's absolved from his unfiltered statements as President of the United States with 65 million Twitter followers, that he's absolved, because there are other mediums on which he could do it. The reality is that it's unfiltered, direct to the to the American public what he speaks on Twitter, and he has weaponized his words in a way that could result in harm to other people. And maybe I'm just kicking in as a former prosecutor, but I know that these real people, including members of Congress who have been the target of his threats, are in fear of their lives and their safety. And that should be taken seriously, and there should be accountability for that in terms of a private corporation that is facilitating it and by its own terms has a term of use.
All right. Senator Kamala Harris, California. It's good to have you here tonight. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
Back to you guys in New York, Brian.
Chris, Senator, thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.